9:20 a.m. on that day we've been calling Sexy Sunday the 16th, because it was kind of just fun to say. And it had been on the map now for more than a week. I think it was, way back on Thursday, November 6th. We started talking about the possibility of a winter storm over New England, which seemed kind of unrealistic because we had not even experienced our polar vortex, and you'd think that we wouldn't get back-to-back winter storms. And we did, not here on Cape Cod. It was so close to thunder last night. There's the clearing line right there on Cape Cod. And how much rain in the bucket? This is the bucket since Columbus Day. There's 9 inches in there. And here's the bucket since yesterday. Close to 1 inch of rain here on Cape Cod. Here's the CoCoRaHS numbers from a stripe from west central New York, right across the Pioneer Valley. Sally in East Hampton says an inch of rain last night in the Pioneer Valley, and out to Cape Cod, about 3/4 of an inch of rain. Looks like less than 7/10 in the Boston area. And across northern New England, where we had the extreme drought as of about 6 weeks ago, we picked up a wintry mix of about 0.5, 0.6 melted, but it's still going on in northern New England. I say liquid equivalent, and because a lot of that was sleet and snow and freezing rain. Now, the freezing rain, I haven't heard anything about any significant freezing rain. I think Montpelier got about 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain, so that was a bust on the forecast of TK, and I'll credit the NAM for an assist on that one. And here's the temperature map. This morning, it was about 32 in Newport, Vermont, and it was 52 here near Chatham, Massachusetts, and then in Maine, we're still in the 20s. So we have an occluded front. Here is the surface map with the primary low. Actually, this is more of a secondary or a tertiary. Remember, one of the lows was way up in Hudson Bay, Canada, and it redeveloped on a front that just couldn't budge out of eastern Canada. And so we had a 982 millibar low near Montreal this morning, and that's going to redevelop on the Maine coast this afternoon and deepen down into the upper 978 millibar range. Yesterday in California, our friends did go to the tailgate and the game, and USC pulled it out in the fourth quarter. The Trojans won over the Hawkeyes, and they had fun. They said, yeah, it's raining. And in Santa Barbara, California, 6 inches of rain over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is the wettest 3-day period at Santa Barbara on record in the month of November. So an overachiever there in California. And if you look at the national radar, it's still going. But 2 days ago, it was Northern California. Yesterday, it was Southern California. Now it's Central California. So this parade of storms coming off the Pacific are going to be a challenge again here in the Northeast. What they're going to do when they get to the East Coast, I think one's going to miss us to the south on Tuesday or Wednesday. And then we'll probably get wet, and more wet than white, probably later in the week. I know I've been talking so much about the mountains. Well, why don't I just give you the Boston 14-day forecast, which now goes out to Thanksgiving, and you can see the cold wave is returning. And actually, we're in a long stretch of cold wave with these brief warm intrusions like the one we had yesterday and this morning. 41 tomorrow, and you can see the nighttime lows are very close to freezing, so we may have a little bit of ice in the bucket in North Weymouth this week, but not heavy ice, not a hard freeze. And each day it's getting a little bit less cold on, well, today's near 50, tomorrow's in the lower 40s. And then when we get out to Friday, there's some more rain there, and this is the Euro-based. We're going to look at the GFS in a minute. The timing is a little different, but it would be rain on Saturday from the GFS. And then you see the spread there, kind of climatological average temperatures in the 50s for the most part after we get done with this blast of chill from Canada. It's old cold in Canada, by the way. It's amazing how much we've recycled this cold air mass. And so now to the snow department. Here is the snow stake, not the snow stake. This is the ruler. The table turns upside down every day. The snow stake still has 2 feet up or higher on the mountain. But how much new snow this morning? It only started snowing at around 7 o'clock. It had been a kind of a drizzle and a sleet and about a ½ inch of rain on top of the old snow last night. And it never really warmed up that much. And this is 2 inches in less than 2 hours, I guess is my point here. So this is now going to be not just dust on crust. It's going to be 2 feet of snow on crust in the mountains of far northern Vermont. But that's pretty isolated. And I think this is the first time we've had the winter storm warnings in effect in upstate or northern New York, what's the difference between northern New York and upstate New York? Oh, about 150 miles. So northern New York and northern Vermont and parts of northern New Hampshire and Maine, I believe this is the first winter storm warning for greater than 6 inches of snow, and that includes even lower elevations. And I think to look at this, one more look at the satellite image. I want to show you this from space. It's really a nice cyclonic signature there with that low. Right over Montreal, redeveloping on the Maine coast, and you've got strips of sunshine trying to come out. We're not going to see too much sun in New England today because of instability. The temperature's going down up in the sky, and there could be even a raindrop or a snowflake all the way into the Worcester Hills, and even Cape Cod could get a shower or two, even though as I pan to the north or zoom to the north there is a clearing line right there. We'll see how much sunshine we can get. We're also going to collect a T-Rex from the other yard next door. I think he's been vacationing over there. I know he's been vacationing over there. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about our leaves, too. But first, let's go to the immediate forecast using the NAM, which overdid that ice, that's for sure. No reports of any widespread power outages this morning anywhere in New England. And the road crews are out as the snow continues in Maine. Northern Maine is having a snowstorm. And you have the occluded front turning into a trough, turning into a cold front, and backing down from north to south out of Quebec into northern Vermont. That's the heavy snow for tonight and tomorrow morning, and then it starts to wane, and then it's only the upper elevations that are getting snow once you get to tomorrow afternoon. This is a 84-hour product. I keep forgetting. See, this is the regular NAM is 84. The high-res 80 NAM is 60-hour, and the HRRR is a 48-hour product. This is why I get my times messed up. Anyhow, this goes out now. 84 hours is Wednesday at 1 p.m. and it's high pressure over New England, and that will be the end of this cycle of cold and snow that has really been here since about October 20th or so. So how much snow are we going to get on top of what we have on the ground already? Higher elevations, these numbers are very conservative when it comes to the very localized mesoscale situation that we're going to have in the northern Green Mountains. But generally speaking, even at lower elevations as it gets colder today, you see the snow adding up to an inch or two, say down in the Route 100 Valley, down around Route 16 and Route 302 in northern New Hampshire, and much of Maine, Rangeley area, getting a decent snowstorm also here. Look at that in Maine. Just dissipates tomorrow, and this goes out also through Wednesday at 1 p.m. And at that point, it's all done. And you can see some light purple to darker purple. That would be 6 to close to 12. So a general 6 inches lower elevations and far northern third of New England and much of Maine. And less than 2 inches once you get to the lower elevations down toward Killington, which is now skiing top to bottom, by the way. Skiing top to bottom at Killington. Breaking news. I can't talk about everything all the time, but that's great news. And now, you talk about, and I'm going to show some video now of the state of what's going on. Tommy went out holding his camera vertical. This is real. This is way up near the Canadian border, up near Jay and Jay Peak, and it's not at Jay Peak, but it's close. And then he turned his camera sideways,
and then for 10,
and the video looked kind of funny with his dog Bruce there, and saying it was a little bit crunchy, and there's a great snowpack, and now it's going to snow probably about 24 inches. It's going to snow for about 48 hours here, Tommy, really heavily, maybe 54 hours, and that's going to be a half inch an hour on average. I mean, plenty of hours we get an inch an hour, so I'd say in this area. Now we're going to switch over to Vex stepping out this morning. Vex says no melting. It did kind of wintry mix last night, and he's stepping further away from his front door. Now this is at Jay down there in Stony Brook, and he gets away from the house a little bit, and already starting to accumulate some snow on top of the crust. And so you guys are going to see probably about 24, maybe 30 inches of snow between now and Wednesday morning. So pretty much the same thing we did last week, but this time it's going to be just a nice powdery snow. There's not going to be any heavy layer in there. So it's just amazing all-time third week of November conditions for all the people hiking in northern Vermont. There are no ski lifts to take yet, and that'll happen next Saturday. So we're now within a week of opening day in northern Vermont. And how's that going to look? Well, let's go to the GFS. I think the Canadian was okay last night. I think the Euro is still too warm. And I think the GFS is kind of coming in really pretty close to what's going to happen. So there's our low in eastern Maine spinning out. You have the storms in southwestern California and southwestern United States and California ejecting energy across the country. And there's our isobars, very windy. We're going to have winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour in much of New England through Tuesday, as another little short wave, the one from California from yesterday, misses us just to the south there on Tuesday night and Wednesday. Now, there is a cold front across Quebec and Ontario, and it's inching in our direction. At the same time, a more powerful system, but nowhere near as juicy as it looked the last few days, is inching toward us on Friday. We're going to stop it here now on Friday. We've been calling it Sexy Sunday today, and Freaky Friday is how I remember this upcoming Friday, because it's the day before the lifts open, and it's 21st of November. And it has a low way out there, just sub 1,000 millibars over Nebraska. Remember a few days ago, it was supposed to be right over New England. It's over Nebraska. And we have a front, or a couple of fronts, extending from Nebraska all the way to the Gulf of Maine. And it is light rain, cold rain, but just light, in northern Vermont. And the rain snow line at this point is north of Quebec City. Now, this is pretty close. On a global sense, that can shift 100 miles, no problem, over the next several days. We're going to be watching this kind of waffle back and forth. And there is a lot of cold building in Western Canada. And so let's put this in motion. And in northern Vermont, it looks like rain may try and change to snow as it ends on Friday night, with a heavy batch of rain crossing southern New England next Saturday. And again, this is going to be a moving target. We're like a soap opera here. We're going to call the play-by-play not only on the weather, but how the weather forecast changes. And so Saturday would be wet in southern New England, then colder air easing in here without any big upslope event. Not that cold, just kind of seasonable. On Sunday, the 23rd, nice day, probably in the 40s north and 50s south, and 30s in the mountains for those of us trying to ride a ski lift. And then it is getting a little bit colder there on Monday, and high pressure is over us. That looks like a pretty nice tranquil period for a few days anyway here in the Northeast. But look out over Wyoming. There's a powerful storm, and it has more to do with high pressure. It looks like about 1040 millibar Arctic high pressure system on the west coast of Canada, with blizzard conditions possible in Montana, and a weaker looking low coming across the Mississippi Valley compared to how it looked yesterday. But it looks like it would be a warm one, and clearly a warm wave developing with those red lines. You can see the ridge building in the southeastern United States, so that would be a warm up and a more seasonable kind of Thanksgiving for us. Instead of all this snow and cold we've been talking about, I would be having some melting that week. But we'll see what happens between now and then, because that's 10 days away. And then those storms are going to cross the nation. So there'll probably be some issues on travel day in the United States on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. This one only goes out to Tuesday. All right, but we'll get there. We'll get there bit by bit. So got some leaf product. Got some. I called it a leaf weekend. A lot of leaves. Yeah, the record for leaf removal goes to Kim and Scott out there yesterday, right there in that green patch. This is how they did it, with a mower trying to mow the lawn, but the mower was more like a leaf plow. Good job, Scott. And so you got the yard cleaned yesterday. Very well done, Kim and Scott. You guys are a great team. And Amy and Jim watching from the warm climes and beautiful weather where you are. And I can see some of the fence still standing in your backyard. So, and more. Maybe we'll throw in a little bit of whatever Josh and Josh Worth. Oh, welcome back. Josh Worth has been in North Carolina. He says it snowed in the mountains of North Carolina when it was raining up here. Welcome back, Josh. And now he's got to work on the back nine, which is actually a touring track he has behind his house, up and down in the snow, and working 10 hours today. So, Josh, I know you're probably too busy to watch this. I call it Not in a Hurry Sunday. I like to have no plan on a Sunday, but I do have a plan to travel back and get T-Rex. And so I may drop in some snow videos, what I'm saying, from up to our friends in far northern Vermont. And yesterday, I did get the hose back out. I did a little bit of raking here. I get the hose out because you can't have a worm farm without watering the leaf product. The organic matter has to be wet when it's decaying. And I'm not sure the whole biology of all of that. I would spend another half hour on that, which maybe I'll do at some point, because we're doing the same thing in Weymouth. So yesterday's weather today is called and more, and we're going to have T-Rex out the door with Steve and maybe some Mitt in 24 hours. And more. And more on Saturday. Nothing but blue sky and sunshine. Still got the beautiful gourds and mums That's looking to the south. Now let's turn it around and look to the north. The air is still coming from the northwest. That means we're still in cold air advection in eastern New England. There are the warm air advection clouds coming out of New York, those cirrus clouds way up in the sky. Still some cold air advection cumulus over towards Worcester, and a sailboat. So I really was inspired by the colors of the sailboat, red, white, and blue. Well, the water in the sky are the blue, and this boat is the red and the white. Gorgeous. And more. So it should change every time we come out today. The sky should look a little bit different. Got some planes coming in. Planes still landing toward the west into the wind. And so we'll see what's the air going to do this afternoon. Probably coming from the southeast, I would guess. Yeah, I'm guessing. 1:30. Dashboard thermometer says 55, but it was sitting in the sun. And there is the warm air advection cloud. Going to get us a T-Rex. And here, playing with Big Dig. Look at that concourse right to the road here. All right. And we've been checking on the state of these trees on the west side of Great Hill for some time. They're still very pretty, and for this little spot right here, I would say peak foliage. 3rd week in November now. Wind has gotten to most of the trees and we'll be getting to the rest of them this week. Here's tails. Dashboard thermometer adjusted to 46 here, getting into just about North Plymouth. There's a major traffic wave, and I think it has to do with something occurring on the other side. I always talk about waves and whether they amplify or resonate. And so even a wave on the other side of the highway can amplify on this side. What do they call it? The rubberneck factor or something like that? Or maybe people getting out their video cameras and making videos. Something like that. Ouch. That looked ugly. So how does traffic on that side, an accident, cause traffic on this side, free-flowing as of 2 seconds ago, to compress? Waves. It's all about waves. I like the ones up in the sky. 2:45. Out the door. I think T-Rex is around here somewhere. Look at that freshly manicured lawn. Not a leaf. Oh, I see a leaf. Scott, there's a leaf over there. I like this. Mass Audubon is here. I'm tracking some birds. Love tracking birds. I don't see any right now. Beautiful sky waves. Look at that. All right, just getting closer to sunset, and it's not even, I don't think it's 3:30. And that yard has been completely cleaned up. Look at the size of this maple leaf. I love this. Gorgeous. This will go into the TK Worm Farm over here. And still got a good amount of leaves up there. All right, I think we'll go down the beach and watch the sunset and play some music. Speaking of color, I had to come over here with the low sun angle on the berries. The hollyberry. And I did Google it, and it's the girl that has the berry. And there has to be a boy around, and we got one right there. And then there's another girl over there. Bert and Angela and Leo planned this all out beautifully. To the sun. All right, just before we go down to the pond and check the buckets. All right, so this bucket has water since Columbus Day weekend, and this one I emptied last time we were here. So this is all the water we had over the last, what was it, about 7 days? Not even 7 days. I dropped Rex off back on Tuesday. 6 days, 3 inches of rain here. Wow, how many thunderstorms did we have last week? And yet another sub 980 millibar storm crossing New England with the gamut of snow and freezing rain and rain. Did it thunder on Cape Cod last night? Did I already mention whether it did or not? I don't think it is thundering, but very cold right now for sunset. Very pretty. 4:07. Pretty colors. Taking a break from cleaning out gutters. And we are going to Margaritaville in Hyannis tonight. So we may or may not be inserting a little bit of video from Eric and Tim and the gang having a fun night out. And I love that the music is 7 p.m. Who can stay up past that these days? Especially those of us in our 7th decade. And this is my 7th decade of watching the sun go down over Fallon's Pond. It was reflecting off the water a few minutes ago, but I guess I missed that. So let's just get down to the sand if we can, quick enough. Catch the end of this. Just in time. A little glitter off the water. And our piano music. The sound of the waves. Sky waves. And water waves. All right, bring the piano music back up again. Just wanted to hear that. Not in a hurry Sunday. T-Rex joins us out the door on our back to work Monday. Thanks for watching. Winter is here.